Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin, and we want to go directly to the phones. We're excited to have Congressman Arrington on the line. Congressman Arrington, how are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm distressed for our country, but I'm
That's understandable.
Glad to be home in West Texas, where we live in reality. Common sense still prevails, and love of country, limited government, and liberty still reigns here, but not necessarily in Washington. A very active first day for our new president, Joe Biden.
Man, he's spitting it out, isn't he?
He didn't waste any time running that radical left playbook. The manifesto is the onslaught from the manifesto has ensued, and everything from open border agenda to the basically putting the loafer on the throat of the oil and gas industry, which has been such a blessing, not just to our economy, but national security. I mean, the list is just so long, but all of it is going to weaken our country, weaken the prospect of recovery and prosperity for the future, and put our citizens in jeopardy, especially along the border in border states like Texas, by saying, hey, you can commit crimes, you can cross the border illegally. We've already seen the biggest surge in 20 years in one quarter. You can be a child molester, a rapist, a murderer, and you get a pass. We put a moratorium. You're not going to be deported. So caravans, come one, come all. We're now open for business to let anyone and everyone into this country with a vetting process in place.
Yeah, but I thought he said he was a moderate.
Yeah, here's what he is, Matt, and this is what
he's
I've
a liar.
been trying to tell people. Well, yeah, that what he is whatever he needs to be at the time. He is all things to all people. That's the worst kind of politician. Somebody that basically will appease and pander just to be popular. That's why we're entering the WHO, the World Health Organization, again. These guys are complicit. They aided and abetted China. And we're holding them accountable by saying, you're not going to get our money anymore because you're not doing your job. We want an investigation. We want Tedros fired. But what does Biden do? He just kowtows to the intellectual elite and the international establishment because he wants to be liked. Well, President Trump didn't have any problem with that. And that's what you have to do if you're going to put America first. Unfortunately, we're starting to see America go from first to an afterthought. And beyond, I believe, in the future.
Congressman, tell me this. Where is this impeachment thing going? I'm hearing a lot about this. And there are, Jonathan Turley, who I respect a lot. I think he's the head of Georgetown Law. He says that it's not lawful. You can't impeach a president after he's already left office. But where's all this going?
Well, I think Turley's right. It's unconstitutional from the outset. Secondly, there was no fair trial. There was no fact-finding. There was no process at all. I mean, it's a joke. I can't believe 10 Republicans went along with this. It's a travesty that happened because this is purely political, right? The only thing keeping the Democrat Party together, and I want you to listen to this, is Donald Trump. He is the uniting force for the Democrat Party. That's the only thing, because the left that is rioting in the streets of Seattle, Portland, Denver, you're not reading about it because nobody's writing it, not even in our own paper. You're not going to read about that violence and insurrection. But those guys, they want to abolish ICE. They want to defund the police. They're never going to be happy. They have an insatiable desire to go so radical that it will tear the Democrat Party into pieces and they will implode. But Donald Trump keeps them unified. They need President Trump to stay afloat.
So
that's my take.
Congressman Arrington, you said something about the 10 Republicans that look like that voted against Donald Trump. One was Liz Cheney, and there's a report that says that they're trying to get her off of her place or position there in the Republican caucus, I guess, there in the House. Is that something that's likely to happen, or is she going to be able to keep her power?
I think it's going to be a real battle, and I think it's one that's worth airing out as a family, as a GOP conference, because and I know Liz, and Liz is a friend, and I go way back with her. But as the conference chair, I mean, it's one thing to quote unquote vote your conscience, but when you're the conference chair, you have a responsibility to the team, and your actions reflect on the entire team. And I sat there and watched Steny Hoyer lecture us with the words that Cheney put out there well in advance of the impeachment vote. So I'm very disappointed. We have some work to do to get our house in order, but I'm confident we will. You know, we won those 14 seats. We didn't lose a single incumbent Republican nationwide. So there's a lot of hope on the horizon to get that gavel away from Pelosi in 2022. But we've got some work to do, no doubt.
Congressman, I was blindsided a day or two ago after the election of Joe Biden, and to see Antifa or BLM start this
right.
BS again and start burning these cities. Now, I was blindsided by that because I thought, hey, your guy is in office. Explain me that, would you?
Well, I will if you'll explain to me why Joe Biden hasn't condemned the violence, the rioting, the lawlessness. Where's the outrage by the Democrat leadership, okay? Not a word. Where's the coverage in our local paper? Where's the coverage of what was going on? I mean, everyone was hyperventilating about the Capitol. I condemned that violence on day one, as did other Republicans, most Republicans, if not all. Nobody's saying a word about BLM protesters who on Martin Luther King Day, the man who championed nonviolent way to change things, and 26 are arrested and they assault police officers. We're seeing this is what we saw for months leading up to what happened at the Capitol. But if you talk to the liberal media and you talk to the Democrats who are obsessed with President Trump, you'll never get any credible, objective feedback from them. And it's a shame that they aren't condemning this from the outset. They're ignoring it and hoping it will go away. It won't go away. These folks are going to continue to do it because they're not being held accountable. Oh, by the way, Kamala Harris, the vice president now, our vice president of the United States of America, was raising money to bail these people out in Portland only to send them back to do more lawlessness. Yep. That was her role in all this, and that's who we have now as vice president.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you, Congressman, let's take a quick break and then come back and
you bet.
with more. How about?
All right.
You bet.
We'll be right back on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. We want to get right back to the phones with Congressman Arrington. Congressman Arrington, I do have a quick question about the Paris Climate Accord. Why is it considered, I guess, an accord and not a treaty when it ties the hands of the United States for years to come?
You're right. It has widespread impact. It binds us. It gives away our sovereignty. Worse, it gives our economic prosperity and security away while giving China, our biggest existential threat, a pass for 10 years, along with Russia, by the way. It was unconstitutional from the outset. This is the Green New Deal being championed essentially by President Biden. I mean, they've got a list of things, including moratoriums on drilling on public land, the XL pipeline. I mean, they are hostile to oil and gas, even though 80% of our economy runs on it, 90% of the world economy. And like I said, we have the blessings of energy independence, not just for America, but for North America, which is critical with the geopolitical landscape, especially in Asia, especially with China. Even progressive Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, condemned that decision by our new president, Joe Biden. But it is horrible. We'll lose millions of jobs in places like West Texas because of the tremendous cost that these regulations and these emission standards are putting on producers. But let me remind folks, we as Americans have led in reducing carbon emissions. And in fact, during the Trump administration, we saw a 15% reduction, and we lead the world, not because of regulation, because of innovation, because of natural gas and the ocean of natural gas that we've discovered. And they're taking us back to the Stone Age of mandates and regulations that will destroy this great industry. It's been so good to our country.
It will never be enough, will it?
No. And not until they're. This is, again, the climate alarmists who think the world's going to end in 10 years. This is the radical Marxist policies and agenda that is now going to be part of Biden's agenda.
So, I have heard it said that the left, this global climate thing has become, it's a religion with them.
Yes, that's right, Dave.
So I guess that's the best way to describe it, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. Let me ask you a question that baffles me. We have heard during the Trump administration, you've heard people like Kelsey Graham and other Republicans that have been on TV saying we've got them now. They have spied on Trump, the FBI. They have done this. It's wrong. It's against the law. They broke the law. They lied to a FISA court, and blah 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 blah. The bunch of barking dogs. Nothing has happened. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody's in jail. Why? Please explain to me why. Were they lying to us? Did they not? Did the FBI and all these people not lie to the FISA court? I'm pretty sure that's a felony. And although I'm not a lawyer, but it seems like that they have broken the law, but nobody has gone to jail.
Well, it's treasonous what they did to deceive in the FISA courts. To have the lead investigators saying we're taking out an insurance policy in case this president, Donald J. Trump, becomes the occupier of the Oval Office. I mean, I saw the same things you did. We're in the minority. Nancy Pelosi has the gavel. So all we're doing or have done for the last 4 years is endless investigations of this president and impeachment. The Senate, to your point, was in the majority. And President Trump appointed Bill Barr, and we had the Durham investigation. And you're right, it was lots of noise and barking, no bite. I've seen nothing come of it. I don't understand how it only works one way. And by the way, all the stuff that they were talking about was not true and was proven after an independent special counsel investigation and millions of taxpayer dollars. But, I'm just as frustrated. I mean, this is why we've got to get the House back, and that we're so close to getting it back. And that's going to be a major focus of mine, because then we can start providing that sort of investigation and oversight from the House where I reside.
Congressman, back to the climate accord. Why did that accord not have to go through the legislative process of a treaty? And are there any lawsuits going on to try to force it to go through that process?
There are, and there have been, and I don't know the specifics on why it's not. The fact is, in spirit, it is, because of what you said. It needs to be ratified by Congress. The people, where the law is made, the will of the people is reflected, which is in Article 1 of the Constitution. The legislative branch has to make that decision, not one man with a cell phone and a pen, as Obama said, as he began his onslaught of executive activism and legislating by executive order and regulation. So we're going to fight this in the courts. The courts will be, look, if they don't remove the filibuster rule, we still have the Senate that has to get 60 votes. If they go nuclear, then the last line of defense is going to be the courts, where President Trump put great appointments in. We've seen 50% turnover there. That's going to be in our favor. So hopefully we can stave off. A lot of this is posturing. Remember the moratorium on drilling on public lands? That was thrown out by the courts. So were the EPA regulations to basically destroy the oil and gas industry. I can give you a list of things that the courts are going to throw out. This is pandering by this new president to the Green New Deal dystopian radicals.
So the $15 minimum wage that Joe Biden's trying to push through, Do you even see that getting through the House? I mean, are there any Democrats that are smart enough to say, hey, this is going to hurt America?
Not many. There are a handful that still look at things and still let the facts guide them. The fact is, as you know, Matt, this will kill jobs, and it will kill the jobs at the small business level. The smaller business, the thinner the margin, the harder it will be to pay. What will happen is you'll put businesses out, small businesses like we have primarily in West Texas, and you'll have more people unemployed, because what they'll do is say, hey, I can only go part-time with you now because the government has mandated I pay you such and such, instead of letting the market set the prices and give people the freedom to either stay there and work, go get an education and maybe increase your work opportunities, or go to a better job. But that's the market. That's the American way. They want to tell us exactly how to do everything from Washington. It will be a disaster.
Yeah, and those making $15 an hour now that work their way up to that point are going to become minimum wage workers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right, well, Congressman, we've got about 30 seconds. Is there something you'd like to throw out there? What time we have left?
Pray for the country, pray for me, and we're going to continue to fight the fight. Thanks for letting me be your voice.
Yeah, thanks.
In Washington.
Thanks, Congressman Arrington. We will be praying for you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Dave, thanks, brother. See you, Matt.
Thank you,
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.